Right, welcome to another episode of the Powerful Lives podcast. Today we've got influencer slash model Robbie McMahon.
That is me.
How are you, mate?
I'm good. Bit dry from the sauna yesterday. You know, I've been looking after myself as I have to.
We have to do it, don't we? I say we have to do it. I should do it, but yeah.
You know, it helps you live longer, apparently. I don't know how long I want to live, but yeah. Helps you live longer, clears your skin out and work. But I've got to be careful because obviously I model.
Something like 50% less likely to have a heart attack through saunaing 20 minutes 3 times a week or something stupid like that.
Really?
Because it opens up all your capillaries.
Oh, fucking hell.
Interesting.
I don't know. I do it to de-stress because I think I'll fucking have a heart attack if I don't do it anyway because I'm so fucking busy left, right and centre.
But obviously, listen, I want to run through your whole life story from start to finish. I know we've obviously spoke many times before, and you've got an incredibly interesting story.
Yeah.
The one thing just to touch on before we do that is obviously we met through influencer boxing, and as a model,
yeah,
that surely could have been life or career ending for you.
Yeah, no, it could be. I mean, depends where you are with your career at that particular time. I thought because it was getting quite trendy that, you know, everyone's jumping on that, you know, having a fight. Yeah. Not that I'm a nutter or anything like that. I didn't, you know, if I'd have won one, I would have got the bug and just continued and probably been knocked out and lost my turkey teeth. But happily, it didn't really go too far at that particular point. But yeah, I mean, it was something I was interested in. I haven't been doing anything in a while in terms of that. I've just been modelling for now. I'm going in more of the direction of taking on campaigns and directing them and stuff like that. So for me, I've gone more of the softer approach. I mean, I could have gone into the cage fighting and all of that, but luckily for me, it hadn't happened that way. Or I would have woken up with 2 teeth hanging out, me in Turkey again, you know, the pain don't stop. I don't
Still
know.
Got a receipt, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. They still would have fixed it.
They got a warranty.
Yeah, but I would have been out of work for like 6 months, so I don't really know. Like the money for the fights would have just, I don't know, tallied up. I'd have just looked silly anyway, so.
Yeah, no, just like I've never seen, well, I suppose I've seen models like it, but yeah, with the old nose over there and.
There you go. So it's not just the teeth, it's the nose, it's the eyes, it's that. I would have just had a complete revamp. So, yeah. Probably would have done something else.
Yeah, why not?
But yeah.
But listen, take us back to the beginning. I know you're a fairly local lad to us. Yeah, take us back to where you grew up and let's start from there. So
back to the beginning, where I grew up and.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Okay, so well, most recently, let's say the last 10 years, I've been around Harrow, sort of northwest London area. Prior to that, I was born in Harlesden, so I was born in like a sort of an estate sort of environment. So a lot of the local lads are, you know, a bit rough or whatever you want to say. Went to a few different primary schools. I moved about a bit. Never really stayed in one place, to be honest with you. When I was like learning in school, I was a little bit behind in terms of like reading and writing because I've been pulled out of school so much.
You went to a lot of different schools, or?
Yeah. My mum had moved about a bit, and my mum was. She was working, but she was doing jobs that weren't the norm, you know. So she was like just getting by because obviously my dad weren't around. So it was my mum, 3 kids on an estate in Harlesden. So that's where sort of I come from.
Yeah,
you know?
And Harlesden. I mean, I'm guessing. I know Harlesden now. I'm guessing back then it weren't much better. It's quite a rough area.
It was probably like on a quiet day how the riots are today, you know. It was a bit like that. And if you're a white boy on the estate, it's a bit, you know. You either liked because you're different or whatever. And it should be the other way around, right? But I was literally just like that kid with that family on the estate.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. So I got on with some people, didn't get on with some other people. You're bullied, whatever. You get that in schools. And when you go to new schools as well, you're like 13, 14, you then have to integrate yourself into like a whole new, not gang, but like
it's a tough age.
Their mates,
yeah, tough age.
And you know the way the kids are, they fight at certain ages where they use like certain tools and weapons and things. And I'm from this area, you're from that area. So you're either involved with it all or you stay out of it. If you stay out of it, you get clumped.
You get bullied for not being involved. Yeah,
that's it. And if you're in it, then you're getting clumped somewhere down the line.
Lose situation.
So you're just getting clumped, basically. Spent my childhood getting clumped without a dad. How lucky can I be? You know, like I could have just got clumped.
What happened to dad? You speak to your dad at all, or is he not around? Or?
I spoke to him when I was like 21 and went to work for him for a little bit because he was doing cars, and we just fell out over money. Basically, we just fell out over like he gave me some money to start up. I started selling with him, car auctions or whatever, and I was working with him every week. He was taking a piss with it. I felt like he owed me more than what he's done, and it's me trying to make the effort. When you got a dad like that, it's kind of, I feel a bit resentful for it. So I just gave it up in the end. I was like, listen, I'm losing my license over this, driving up and down the fucking motorway, getting done for no insurance and this and that, and we're doing all this dodgy stuff. And you're my dad, you weren't around, so I don't understand where I draw the line with it all. So I just thought, fuck this.
Cut ties.
Yeah, because it was more like he was kind of using me, and I don't know if he's that kind of character because I never knew him. So I don't know if he was just using people throughout his life or what he does. I don't know if he's going to ever see this. I don't really care, but it's for me.
Main thing is, as a parent, so as you know, I'm a parent to 4 girls. I can't imagine doing that to any of them.
Well,
you know?
That's because you're a parent, but he wasn't. So
true, yeah.
You know, where I was with my mum, I don't think my mum could ever do that to me. She could only give me her last pound. Do you know what I mean? Or make sure I'm home safe.
Yeah.
Where I didn't get any of that stuff from dad. Do you know what I mean? He just had another family and moved on. So I don't expect. I guess when I was 21, young and dumb, I expect a parent to act and they do in Disney films. Or I'm sorry, or I've done something wrong. But really, in reality, you tend to put the pieces together and think the reason why you weren't there, or he could have been there, is either he physically couldn't because he's in jail or prison or whatever, or he couldn't because he had some crazy wife that didn't want him to mingle with his previous relationships and that kind of techie stuff.
Was that what it was about?
Nah, because he'd moved on from that one that he moved on from my mum, you know what I mean? He was kind of jumping hot stones. But, I mean, regardless, you could do something, and if someone came back to you, you could act a little bit differently or just kind of look inwards and think, actually, I got a chance to maybe rekindle something here. Maybe I shouldn't be an absolute fucking twat. But he was, and, I have a younger half-brother that I took under my wing and we got on really, really well, and he really wanted me to get on with my dad. And I tried, we'd all go out to Nando's and go to the gym and things like that on the weekend, and I really tried to build some sort of relationship with my dad that wasn't there, and like sort of just lying to ourselves sort of thing. Like I meet some of his mates and they'd be like, oh, is that your boy? And they'd be shocked because they were never told about me or whatever.
Yeah, you ain't even speaking about it.
Yeah, and then it's like, I'll just go along with it, we'll just get a tea from the auctions and fucking carry on. But, a couple of months down the line or whatever, after a year or so, you realise it's being used for certain things in terms of I'm just a body to drive a car or just someone there on the weekend, and really, he don't really give a shit.
No.
So I kind of had to sack it off for my self-growth, put that to bed. That's what I did with that.
Yeah. And listen, you've for what you've achieved in life now, coming from that, there's a lot of people who go the other way.
Yeah, there is. And I do thank my dad for my good looks, because I have a spitting image of him, I'm not going to lie. I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but he is a good-looking lad. And, he works very hard, and he's made his money, and he puts work before anything. He's got a very military sort of background and military mind. So he'll get up in the morning, have his coffee, everything's sorted, his house is spotless. He's very military with it, and that's how my mindset is.
Regimented. Yeah,
regimented, sorry. So we're quite similar like that. And I think, even the way he was laughing and jokes he would tell, we've got the same sort of sense of humour as well. But obviously I haven't done what he's done, and I'm resentful, and he's a bit fucking, feels guilty. So we're both like locking heads at that spot.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I forgive and forget, just leave it as it is.
Yeah, listen, sometimes, even if it's family, sometimes you just got to realise it's not good for you.
Yeah.
And you have to let it go. It's horrible, but you have to just cut the tie and...
That's it.
And, life goes on.
That's it. Like, even with the rest of, like, my family, some of them got a big drug problem or whatever, and has had drug problems before in the past. And I've never been like that. But I think it's because of that I've never been like that, I've gone the opposite way.
I'm sure it's something like 1 in 3 families have got a set of people who don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you grow up thinking, like you say, it's the perfect world. It don't really exist out there.
No, of course not. And I think it's that whole thing when, you might get, let's say like a young girl, for instance, who doesn't speak to her daddy issues, or whatever you want to say. She might rebel and do everything her dad doesn't want, but it's for attention.
Literally.
So I think there's some sort of similar thing going on there where some of the kids in the family want to do whatever in terms of drugs or just be naughty or whatever. And then some kids want to stand out, but I don't want to be like that because I want the attention. And so maybe I've got something like that to do with me. Maybe I didn't want to do that and stand out a little bit differently. And I'm not talking about modelling. I'm talking about just in life. Because
day-to-day life.
Modelling came later on for me. It's completely different to what I started out with.
So going back to the was it Holsden? The Holsden estate. You obviously sort of, I can imagine it weren't particularly an easy space, but like what was going on?
Well, like my mum was bringing us up by herself, and she never really moved on from my dad. She was just like a sort of one woman, one man, one woman sort of thing. She did try she did get a boyfriend eventually, which then they moved out of that, and we had a stepdad, and we had him for about 10 years. He was cool. He was all right, to be fair. But growing up in Holsden was tough, was rough, because certain point, certain age, you would just be constantly hammered, like if it's like racism, I suppose. If you're maybe, I'm not going to say a particular colour because I don't want no backlash, but if you're a particular colour growing up in a different colours sort of environment, you're different.
You stand out.
You stand out. And I know this is England, but I stood out where I was. So, you get a bit of grief, and then eventually you're accepted. So I was cool at a certain age. But then I had to move. So then when you move...
You start again.
You're going into another place, the same sort of criteria, and then you've got those people that don't get on with the people from where you were from. So now I'm like, when does this end? You're not only going to get at me because I look different, you're going to get at me because I'm from somewhere. So it was a constant... I got pulled out of school once for knife threats, and I was only there a week. You can imagine the buses and the runs and the stuff I was doing and the ducking and the lying to mum I wasn't going to school, and just bare problems. And that's where my education was getting a little bit tampered with. I was learning one thing from someone, one thing from someone else, then getting some help to sit in maths classes and do this and do that. Like, it's not where you're stupid, it's just where you just haven't had that consistency with things.
Is your mum still in Holsden now, or?
No, she moved out a long time ago with the boyfriend and
that.
But but now that pushes you to sort of learn other things and work a little bit harder. So now I work for myself, doing invoices or getting brands on board or talking to people or completing campaigns and things. It's all on me now. And I've done that completely by myself. And I know exactly how to make my money and what I need to do. And I make good dollar and I travel the world instead of working a 9 to 5, which is what I used to do. So obviously with my mum, being my mum, one parent, and me moving around, I thought first thing I need to do is get a job. So, 9 to 5. And then my success coming out of where I'm from. Because 90% of the people where I'm from don't work, or they're entrepreneurs doing whatever they want to do, to make their money. And I thought I'm not going to go down that route because I didn't like how it started. So I know where that ends,
Yeah.
So I'm just going to be back where I started. So let me get out of that and get a job. So I did that, moved into Harrow, was, gym manager, sales manager, personal trainer, whatever you want to call it. I was everything because I was, it was just so easy to sort of, obtain skills, and they're transferable skills in the fitness industry. So I was in the fitness industry for about 10 years, 10, 15 years now. And I've been an assistant manager, working on my way up to GM and stuff. I worked for a few different companies. And I thought that's where I want to be and that's what I want to do. Until I got really, really tired of saying the same thing to the same type of person. It grated on me when I was like training people and they weren't taking the information in or weren't taking it serious. And I just thought I can do a lot more than this, or there's a lot more to going to a gym. And I'm not dissing anybody who's doing it at the minute. Maybe it's for them. But I did it for a while and I enjoyed it. And it was like some of the best years of my life, socially. But I think in London with the salary that you're on and what you get and what I wanted out of life just didn't match.
It weren't enough, yeah.
It weren't enough because every time I'd either hit rent or hit bills, there weren't enough hours in a day for me to make this money. They had this new platform in the gym where you could actually do 10 hours of personal training while being a gym manager. So you've got a basic salary now and you're allowed to personal train 10 hours. So I did that, still weren't enough. I worked at 6 a.m. till 9 before my main shift, personal training, and then stayed behind after my shift to personal training. Because everybody knows when you're training clients, if you're a PT, it's early morning and late evening. So what do you do during the day? So I've got a day job, the gym manager. So I was constantly working, and on the weekends, most of my clients want to work. So I never had a day off. And I did that for about 5 years, constantly, and I just got tired, mate. And then I bumped into someone, a girl, as I do, and she was a model, she's a pretty girl. And then I dropped her off to an agency once, and she came out crying. I was like, what's the deal? She was like, oh, you know, they're being really rude. I didn't get the contract I wanted to get. So I went in there and I was like, listen, what's the problem? Why are you being rude to her for? You know, she's a young girl. She wants to do certain things. You ain't got to be rude. And I don't know what the situation was because I wasn't there. Guy comes out and he goes, oh, it's just like that sometimes. You know, you either get it or you don't. Or, you know, it's for some people, it's not for others. But where are you from? I was like, what do you mean where I'm from? I'm a boyfriend. I was talking to him. He goes, where's the contract for you if you're interested? And I was like, what? Went back to the car, and the girlfriend weren't too happy about it. Needless to say, we fell out, and we weren't together no more.
This has got X Factor vibes written all over it, innit? When yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So I did 1 or 2 jobs for this geezer, and I thought I'll give it a go on a day off, which I never had from the gym. And I made more money out of one day than I made 6 months in the gym. So I thought, this is before lockdown, so I thought, fucking hell, maybe there is something in this. But there was no more coming from him because we went into lockdown. So I started to do Instagram a little bit, start to model a couple of free brands here and there, get used to it a little bit, find a photographer, get comfortable. Because I just turned up to a job and just did a job. I didn't really know what was going on. I'm not really a model. Then I started to take it a little bit more serious because in lockdown, I weren't in the gym and they weren't paying me furlough and there's no way of training clients. So I was getting broke. I was losing money. It was getting dire for me. You know, I'd rent. And I thought every month we're going to come out of lockdown, I'm going to be all right. And it just weren't happening. So I called my photographer and I was like, listen, I can maybe reach out to a few brands. Maybe we can do something here, get them some content, see what they say. He came back to me, he was like, all right, cool. He's not doing anything either. Nobody was doing nothing.
I was going to say, yeah.
So I thought, if I'm not doing anything now, the chances of me doing something when I come out of lockdown are going to be very slim. It's a bit like if you go to prison and come out and try and get a job. Like, what have you been doing?
Yeah.
Nothing. They're not going to take you over someone who's been active. So I thought, let me be active.
It was the best time for opportunity.
I didn't see it like that, but I saw it now, you know, when everyone's falling down and sleeping, fuck, the only man standing up is the only man in the spotlight.
And the one thing you never got is time, and all of a sudden you've got so much time, so you either sit, I mean, I think, Christ, 90% of the population spent the first 3 months pissed in the sunshine.
That's it.
You know, it was probably the best summer we've ever had. And then once you realise you're in for the long haul, it's kind of like, right, how productive can we be?
That's it.
You know, and like you say, the people who come out of it the other end.
Well, that's it. It swings and roundabouts. I mean, everyone having a laugh and partying. I was shitting bricks because
your rent's got to be paid.
I didn't have a job,
and
I made a lot of money doing one-off job, modelling or whatever. And I just didn't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. You know, I worked really hard to be in the situation I was, to be managing a gym and personal training. I had it on lock, you know.
But sometimes that's the worst. You know, when you see people in a high-paid job that they hate.
Yeah.
If you're in a low-paid job that you hate, it's easy to jump.
Yeah.
But when you've got that little bit of comfort, it makes it that little bit harder to take the risk and take the gamble.
That's it. But going back to it, yeah, we did some free brands, and then I sent them the content. We did it for a few months, and then we came out of lockdown, and then the brands were like, "Where's the content this month, Rob?" I said, "What do you mean? I've got to go back to work, mate. I've got to go to the gym. What do you mean I'm standing in the street modelling, doing this for nothing? And he said, oh, well, we'll give you £1,000 and keep doing what you're doing. Then a light bulb came on. I was like, so this isn't a proper modelling gig. This is you just sending me stuff to shoot. And you're going to pay me £1,000. And they were like, yeah. I was like, cool. Copy and paste, sent it to a few brands. Out of 10, 5 responded, said yes. So I went from no money to 5K.
Nice. And also, you're in control.
But I'm only putting clothes on. I'm not doing a 9 to 5. I'm not getting up at 5 in the morning, going home at 8, dying 7 days a week. It's made 5K overnight because of an opportunity. It was something I've done for the last couple of months. Now, my content and modelling was splattered all over the internet. So most brands were dying of content, thirsty for stuff. And I was on every fucking page.
Nice.
So then I split everything down the middle with my photographer because we were doing it for free. And then we got paid. So I was like, this is what we're doing. And then, yeah, fathers and other brands, Icon and everybody else sort of came on later on. And we gave them a figure. He said yes. And we've been shooting content with them ever since, and it's been happy days. And then I've been getting other brands from abroad. Like Lucian, LA, I've just been working with, went to America twice.
And it doesn't look like a bad way of living. I won't lie. Your Instagram, I look at your Instagram and I think, oh, God, I'm stuck in this office again.
You know what? I love it. But it's also, don't get it twisted, it's also, like we spoke about earlier, 95%, smokes and mirrors.
Of course, yeah.
You're seeing content, you're seeing something that's been chopped up, colour graded, I don't look like that, edited, the best shots of me possible in the best location with the prettiest girl.
Yeah.
You can't it's not a bad picture anyway, even if it was on a mobile phone. But now we're talking about a professional photographer who's been doing it for years and knows me inside out. There's no way I could look bad, right? But I've strategically done that. So that's why my content stands out, right? And I work really hard at it, to be fair. I don't just, I'll get up in the morning, I'll get a haircut on the day. No, it's all, I was in the sauna yesterday. Why? Because I'm dropping body fat for next week. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So that's the reason why it looks good. But going back to before fathers and that, in lockdown, when I wasn't doing much and I was just doing that free content, I then applied also for a TV show called Geordie Shore, which I got on, which it was an interesting experience. It was lockdown season, so we all had to isolate for a few weeks, and I was absolutely dead shredded. Like, who's that kid from Baywatch? He had nothing on me at that point.
Really?
Literally, I was
best shape of your life.
I was so ripped up, it was ridiculous. And I was like cutting an avocado a certain way. It wasn't having no oil to it, and looking at the clock in lockdown, and I can only eat between this time, and gallons of water in, gallons of water out, no salt. I was doing everything. Walked onto this show and instantly just got hate from it straight away from the lads in there.
Really?
I didn't anticipate who was on the show and how they would look at me. So I walked in there thinking, I'm going to be at best shape of my life, bit of exposure, have a bit of fun, see some women, I was single, whatever. And I got on there and it was just, all the lads instantly thought, fuck.
Who's this geezer?
I had my top off. They had me give me a lap dance between both of the main Bethany and the other birds, the main one. And you could just see, I fucked up. I shouldn't have done this. I should have come in a different way.
More humble.
More of a humble way, more of a lad's way. I put my hands up to it. I came in there based on the fact that, I'm a model, I want to show off my bud. I could have done that later on. I did it the first fucking 10 seconds, like a twat. So
less is more, as they say sometimes.
Exactly. I was a bit full on the first date sort of thing, like hands down. And I'm not going to say that. But yeah, I think, I wouldn't have been nasty to someone coming in like that because I don't feel threatened. I'd be like, oh, right, you got some muscle, you work out, what do you do? But that's my character anyway. I never try to feel threatened by anyone. I try to learn from them. That's just my characteristics. Some people, there's girls there, they've probably got in a relationship or trying to be in a relationship. The oddballs coming in, I ain't got a drink in my hand, I got a water and I got a beer and it's complete opposite.
Six packs popping.
Yeah, so obviously I pissed a few people off. Sorry. But yeah, I did that and then got on with some people, didn't get on with the others, got booted out a couple of days, maybe 4 days later. It was like a, like a voting in sort of sequence thing. And they'd started the show a little bit earlier, so they'd already been married up with their people, whatever. And I was just there to cause drama, to be fair. And I did.
They've probably thrown you in exactly for that reason, yeah.
Exactly.
They know what they're doing, yeah.
I weren't there for a long time. I was there for a good time. One of them ones. So Geordie Shore was cool, sweet, short, in and out. Didn't really do much to the following. It was all right, but I feel like I got more of a following from just being consistent and doing what I'm doing on Reels and Instagram, because I get like a lot of Polish kids, a lot of Romanians, a lot of Americans. Like, what's your
demographic of followers, male to female, just out of interest?
I think the last time I checked was 70% men.
Yeah.
But I am happy about that.
Yeah.
Because I do like to be a bit of a, not a geeky role model like a Will Smith vibe, but I do know that there is a lot of men's health issues and a lot of people perceive themselves to be lesser than they are. And they have unrealistic expectations. And I know this because people come up to me in the gym, or young boys will come up to me in the gym and be like, not you're that father and sons guy, or not you're the Geordie Shore guy. They'll just be like, your hair, what do you put in it? And I just think that's a bit of a weird question to ask someone. But it comes down to...
off the hip as well, yeah.
It's their own insecurities, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like, because I look good, it's because they don't feel like they look good, you know? And I feel like with guys in the locker room, changing room, whatever, in the gym, oh, you put on some size, you got leaner, what do you use? What do you... We were right asking each other like that, a bit like girls would, what do you put in your hair? Or how'd you get your blusher this day on? I don't know what they talk about, but this is what guys talk about. And I get a lot of guys, like in real time, in the gym, probably today, probably later on, someone in the DMs, they always asking me questions, what am I doing with this, what am I doing with that, where did I get a jacket from, you know? And it's just...
I think blokes are genuinely... like, I'll look at a geezer who's absolutely jacked, and I look and I think, oh, I want that. That would be so cool. Like.
Yeah. And it depends. In the right environment, you'd probably say that if it's just me and you.
Yeah.
If I was around your missus and girls and the kids...
People get protective, yeah.
You get a little bit like, fucking, he's making me feel a little bit... weird here. It's if someone pulled out a fucking wallet full of 50s, or look at my Bitcoin, I've got 500 grand in here and I've got like 5k in my account. You know,
it's an insecurity, isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
it brings out your insecurity. So
sitting around the pool and all of a sudden a 6'3" geezer walks around, absolutely ripped. You go, oh please no.
Happened with me in Thailand.
No.
Listen, I was
sit over there, fella.
I was with my bird in Thailand, and this is me, right? I'm normally ripped up and jacked. A guy will walk across and I'm instantly like, so babe, yeah, so what we eating tonight? Just to drag her attention. It's literally just, I feel that I'm doing it myself, and men do it. They do
we're programmed to do it, yeah. We're protective.
100%. Some guy will walk in and pull up with a fucking Lambo. And instantly like, so babe, where are we going later?
Yeah, well, look at that idiot.
Yeah.
But you're secretly thinking, oh, I want a Lambo.
Exactly. And don't say you don't do it, because you fucking do.
Oh, yeah. Listen, 95% of the population see a Ferrari drive past and go, wanker.
Right.
And you shouldn't be that way. But that's how there's a lot of people out there, especially people who are struggling with themselves.
Exactly.
They project hate, and it's actually jealousy, because they want, if they could swap with that person, they'd swap today.
And the jealousy is through insecurity. Which
massively.
Then I've overlooked all that, because I'm the guy that's constantly getting hammered. So I look at it and I think in a positive light, it's not that you're jealous, not that you're angry with me. It's not that, you're angry with yourself. You're just a little bit insecure, which is fine. And I'm not going to bring that up, mate. You say and do what you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring that up. But now I sound like a fucking twat, because now I'm referring myself to a Lamborghini or something else, which I don't think. I'm just a normal lad, and that's how it is. But we're just talking about insecurities. It's
dedication. You've got to remember, you've got the body. I'm sure there might be a little bit of genetics in it, and there often is with completely ripped people.
To a degree, but
there's also a hell of a lot of dedication.
To a degree, I am still a white Irish man. I've got Irish blood in me. I've got a bit of German in me, a bit of Italian there somewhere. And if I start eating sugar like I have recently, and I start eating carbs, I look like a builder. Like, I start to get hips. It's normal. If you're not taking certain supplements, that's not going to help you. If you're not dedicated to the gym 2 hours a day, if you're not separating your carbs and your fats, and you know how it goes. If you're not on a diet and you're looking at someone going, oh, you must be taking something, well, then you're a twat, because you haven't done it.
I always say, anyone who goes, yeah, well, look, he's clearly on roids. And I've sort of said to people, he probably is on roids, but he still has to work out. You don't inject roids and sit in front of the TV eating chips.
100%.
Like, you kind of got to do the work with it as well. Like
100%. It's like a millionaire's problems are the same problems as someone who's broke. If he's got to pay his Lambo 50 grand for a new wheel, it's the same as you got to pay 50 quid to someone else for your fucking wheel. The problems are the same, mate. It's
just items. Yeah.
That's all it is.
Sliding scale.
And the only thing is, with a body, you can't cheat with that. Everyone was born into this world with a body, and everything works the same way. You know, I can't just secretly pay someone to a certain way. You have to get up and go do it. That's the thing that I think is fair. So if we're going to, like, look at me and judge me, all right, make sure you've done the work, though. It's the same thing with earning money. If I wanted to learn about Bitcoin and become a millionaire and not be jealous about someone else's Lamborghini, maybe I should have downloaded a fucking Bitcoin course. Maybe I should have paid attention, which I didn't, because I have no interest in it. I've got interested in the gym, so that's where my interests are. So, you know, you can't split fucking straws, can you? So
no. Yeah, it's most of us don't look after ourselves the way we should, unfortunately. But it often comes down to time. You know, if you work silly hours, it's very hard. And people say you can always find time, but it's not always that easy. You know, like I've probably got the same BMI as a pork scratching right now. But I'm often working 6 till midnight. You know, I'm like, it's
yeah, but you do have a lot of stuff I don't have. Right, you've got a few daughters, haven't you?
I've got 4 daughters. Yeah,
4 daughters. That would make me put the gym down and think, how can I triple my money? Yeah, you know, that's where the man is, you know. Yeah,
that's again everyone's life's it's perspective, isn't it? Like life's different, and I think as well at 45 years old, my insecurities have gone. Like I've got no problem walking around the pool with my shirt off, even though you know I'll probably scare the kids. Like the kind of insecurities have gone because you kind of think, look, here I am, take it or leave it. Like my reasoning for trying to sort my life out, as far as body-wise, is more for health than it is for aesthetics.
But then your concerns and insecurities would be, is my business profitable? Am I going to be here next year? You're thinking about
health is wealth. This is the trouble as well. Yeah, like, you know, like it's like all the money in the world, if you're laying on your deathbed or you can't walk, or, you know, it's irrelevant.
That's it. Like, swings and roundabouts. So it should all be nice.
It's that happy medium, I think, isn't it? You know, like you kind of want to try and you got to try and fit. And again, I'm sure I could find time, and I found time before, and I need to find time because if not, I'm going to make myself ill.
Yeah, but I could use the same fucking excuse. You know, the world's going digital. Everywhere they're taking away jobs. How soon before you don't need a model? They're already doing it now on AI.
Yeah, of course,
you know, there's loads of things. I've already got my own business plans and things I'm doing. I can talk to you about on this podcast later on. But there's loads of things I need to evolve and do, and I've got to give that more time. But today, I'm going to the gym, and I'm picking a girlfriend up. Then I've got to go and shoot a reel. That's my priority today. But I could spend 2 hours learning about what I need to do in the future. So it's all swings and roundabouts, isn't it? It's just, at the end of the day, my point is we should all be nice to each other. Everyone's got shit going on.
Oh yeah. Everyone views it from a different angle, don't they? That's the reality. Obviously, at the minute, there's a lot of shit going on with the writing. Even that put stress. I feel stressed. Yeah. And I think probably the majority of the people do. It feels stressful out there. It feels dark.
Do you know what? With the writing and that, it doesn't really affect me directly, like it doesn't affect most people, other than social media. So you can not have nothing come to your door. You cannot be told about it.
I find it sad. I find it actually. I felt low like watching parts of the UK pretty much implode. I felt quite sad watching it. You know, it's like we have got problems. You know, like we have got illegal immigration issues. We know we can't cope with many more people in there. But all of a sudden they've turned it into a race war. And when I say they, both sides of this are turning it into race. And that's not what it should be about.
100%, but I do think the reason you're saying that is because of what you've seen. So what you've been shown. And I do think, media can pick and choose where it plays, just like I pick and choose what I post. Same thing. I'm in charge of my business. They're in charge of theirs. So if they want to go down a racial agenda and just pick out certain crowds and then focus on the racist stuff, there's also other bits and pieces that are going on, And
of course, yeah.
It's sad for me when I look at Instagram and I've got, mates from all different kinds of backgrounds. Everyone's different colours.
Same as that, yeah.
And I'm looking at it and they're posting stuff on their private story that I can clearly see. And it's looking a little bit like, hold on a minute, I'm a white geezer.
Yeah.
Calm down. Weren't we just talking yesterday? But they don't mean it towards me. They mean it towards that particular individual. But what they're posting is I'm now getting affected and getting personally affected. So I have to check myself and think, actually, he's not a racist. He's just angry about what's going on. And I think that's the problem with social media and the way everyone's getting affected by it. And I think that's the agenda with the news. Because not 90% of people are going to see that it's racism, but they're not going to feel that it's racism because they're going to be thinking more like me and think it's just the individual. But it's some people are influential.
When you say 90%, I don't know, because I think 90% of the population is sheep.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And they'll literally believe whatever they see.
Yeah, you're right. I keep thinking there's people level-headed like me.
Like you, it's not. Yeah,
they're not.
That's 5-10%. Yeah,
these are kids going to schools, and depending if you've got a dad, and he's taught you the right things, or you've got a mum, or and they're not been impacted racially. Whatever, dilutes down to them is how they're going to take this information, and
Yeah.
You'll see Robbie again in another Holston somewhere getting his ass kicked today. Do you know what I mean? So hang in there, Bobby, from another universe. It's not your fault. But I'm not just talking about the white Robbie. I'm talking about, the black Robbie, whoever. But it's just how you take in the information. I just think take Instagram with a pinch of salt, because everything I said on it is true, and take the news with a pinch of salt. That's all I can say on it. I can't, say for...
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, the media drives its own agenda, and it kind of depends who's paying the media to what agenda that is. It's there's definitely a lot more that goes on higher up than we don't realise, or that some of us realise, I'm sure. 100%. But there's a lot of money more.
You got to look at why Instagram's free and why TikTok's free and things like that. Is to take, the average person's time off their hands. So they can just about eat, just about work. And whenever they want to feel included in something globally like Instagram to connect, they have to be up to date with the latest trends and looking at the latest things and buying the latest clothes to feel included in a group. That's where your time is spent. And like we mentioned, I ain't got enough time to focus on another business for when I'm older. And you're struggling to focus on your health and fitness to keep you going so you can spend more time with the kids. We get distracted. And I think that's a massive distraction. And you think, why isn't it being charged? Why aren't we paying a lot of money as influencers? I shouldn't be saying that. A lot of people are going to be like, shut the fuck up. But it's true. Why do we have so much time on our hands to be distracted? And it's because the bigger picture is we're just fucking batteries, mate. Nobody really gives a shit. If they want to cause drama, they've got their own agenda in the news. Nothing I believe in the news. I don't believe nothing in the news.
No, literally, same, yeah.
They're saying they can fix AIDS one day. They're saying they can't fix cancer. They're saying we can go to the moon, but we can't fix cancer. They're saying it's all a load of bollocks, mate. Everything is bollocks.
Well, do you know what? We've had a really interesting few meetings with a guy I now class as a friend, and I'm going to be setting him up his own pod. And he speaks heavily. He was diagnosed with cancer 4 years ago. Then 3.5 years ago, told he's got 2 months to live. And I was with him the other day. No one teaches you to build your immune system up. They just want to. There's no money in healthy people. This is the thing. People don't see the constant agendas. I don't want to sound like we're going down a rabbit hole too much, but like no one's teaching it. In the cancer world. He said they're pushing around trolleys full of cakes. Well, the one thing you don't need is sugar. You've got cancer. You're
absolutely right. It's not a rabbit hole. You're absolutely right. It's just nobody can be asked to talk about it. There's more money in hospital beds than there is anything else.
Yeah. I watched a pod the other day and they were saying that hospitals are basically run the same way hotels are. Like they're looking for 90% occupancy. So, if everyone was really healthy and they push, do this will save that, this will stop that. Don't eat that, eat this. Well, what happens? They're not making money, are they?
It's a master plan.
Big Pharma.
It's a master plan. Somebody has said yes to these certain ingredients that have come through the green light system and all that on the food. We've now found out it's all bollocks and they've been paid off, right? So everything you think's healthy is unhealthy. And then they have a fitness industry which makes multi-millions to try to be healthy. So who's profiting?
Yeah. They're
profiting from both sides. It's literally a Dixon's and a Curry's situation. I was just talking about analogies, and with the whole, you can't take what you see on TV. It's got an agenda. Just like Dixon's and Curry's, which I mentioned before. They're selling you one price, they're giving you another. They're only giving you two options. You're eating from the same seller. So it doesn't matter what information, what side you go for. It's all been planned out anyway, so I don't really pay attention to the news or anything like that.
I think I stopped buying newspapers probably 10 years ago, and my life was better without a newspaper. Now it's obviously all gone online.
Newspapers are for if you didn't have a computer, Instagram is your newspaper, isn't it? It's I remember my nan used to get this TV mag. So she'd do the is it noughts and crosses or something?
Sudoku.
Yeah, she'd do that, and then she'd look at the star signs. Fucking listen to that for 20 seconds. And then she'd move on to what's on TV in the evening. But nowadays, man, the TVs, you just press the button. It displays all that. I don't even know how they even make business. But anyway, front covers of people, models or whatever, or information or people's private lives. That's all it's all bollocks, isn't it, really?
Magazines are obviously in massive decline because of online. Yeah. From a modelling point of view, is all your modelling campaigns online campaigns? It's
always online. If you're not online, I don't think you're making money. You'll probably get a day rate to take a picture.
Really?
Whereas I'll get a link. I'll make money from how much I sell. You then know how, the environment or what you're modelling, what you're good at. You can then sharpen your tools and do your different things and go for different brands that work for you. Build an image, rebrand yourself. So much better rather than, going to an agency and applying, can I be a model? And then you've got 10 blokes like you who'll put you on a shelf and only support one that they've been supporting the whole time. I would never go with an agency either. I just work for myself online. Your work and your work ethic and your turnaround would all speak for itself.
What advice would you give to someone who want to get into modelling now?
Well, right now is probably a good time to get into it, but it's really, really hard work because you got some fucker like me who can go and get the content shot, knows the right photographer, knows how to edit, knows how to approach a brand on an email, can get the content turned around, knows everything technically, what to do, how to export things and stuff like that, knows what to do on the day of the shoot, knows how it's going to look, not even know what time of the day to shoot. If you shoot past 12 noon and 4, the light's too harsh, so all your content's fucked. That's a good tip for you. So there's so many things to do and, to know. You're going to have to go through your paces with it. It's not something like you'll get rich overnight. It's not. You're not going to be someone overnight.
That's most trades in general, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think consistency, first year, second year, you're learning the ropes.
Yeah. But it's just that whole thing where you look at someone and you think, oh, they look so amazing, or it looks so good, and they look so cool, and they're on the coolest brand already, and instantly you're taking a liking to them, you follow them, and you think it's easy. And you don't see all the stuff that they've archived, all the stuff that they've done, all the little jobs I've done, all the little shows I've been on, everything I've learned and accumulated with information. To even articulate myself a certain way in front of someone, for them to give me a job more than someone else, Hopefully, you gain a little bit more insight into me and how I talk and the things I'm talking about, to get to know me a little bit better as to why I get the jobs I get and why the content is the way it is and why you will see me next year and the year after that. It's just, I live and breathe this. So unless you're going to live and breathe it, if you've got a part-time job and a boss that you answer to, and you can't take the day off to go for this opportunity and that, you're slimming your opportunities down to nothing. It's someone like me who's taking it completely seriously and is always free, always going to turn up, always going to the gym. You're in massive competition, so...
You've got to be ready every...
you've got to be ready. I lift my top up, I'm ripped up now.
Same.
You got to be ready, you know? Like, it's not a joke with modelling. And there's always a younger bloke coming out. There's always a fitter girl. There's one day it might be a brunette, one day it might be a blonde. How are you going to survive then? Like, you know, if you're not top now, what are you going to do next month?
Do you think your look at the minute is in? Obviously, like the facial tattoos does seem to be quite trendy at the minute.
I think it's trendy, but
it's different as well.
It's different, but then also you don't really get a lot of like speaking roles or people that look like me actually talking back or doing anything. They tend to sort of go in these small shows. They say something, they open their mouth, and then people lose interest because there's not much behind them. So I wouldn't go for anything like that because it would just make me less of what I'm trying to sell myself as right now. Whereas I've done Geordie Shore before, they edited it a certain way where I didn't get to say a lot, where there was plenty to say. So I think that everybody has a certain view of you and how they're going to sell you and what they're going to do. So you have to look at yourself as a product and think, you know, if I'm a toothbrush, I've got to stop trying to be a Hoover. So you just got to be what you are and be good at it.
Focus.
Yeah, that's it. Don't try to do too many things at once.
How old was you when you got your first face tat?
How old was I? I was probably 28. I didn't do this young.
No.
I didn't do this when I was...
This is so mad because I had Carl Scott, I think I was talking to you about him earlier, Two's a Duo, and he said the same thing. And after listening to his story and where he'd come from and his background, and he's got facial tattoos, and then he said they was only like 18 months old. And I naturally would have put the tattoos with his younger age, not where his life is now.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I got into modelling later, so it was just like a little word to me at ASOS and different places like that. You know, if you've got a few more tattoos, you'd probably make a little bit more dollars.
As you said there, yeah?
Yeah. So, like, you know, some agencies would say that, and then I'd go and do it, and then the work wouldn't come in, well, because somebody else completely tatted has got it. So I sort of fell out of love of trying to make other people happy, and I just went for what I like. Within the same... I wouldn't get cunt tattooed on my forehead, but, you know, within good reason. I just design myself in the way I look the way I want to look. So you can't be anyone else. You can try and look like someone else, but then you've got to try and get their jobs.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, you've got a unique look, haven't you?
Yeah, and I try and keep it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sort of like 70s, 80s gel back look, you know, that's my vibe. So obviously Lucian, LA, I'd get, you know, smart, sort of muscular, lean, tattooed look for fathers and whatever brands are out there. And if it's trendy right now, then I'll get the jobs. But next month, next year might be trendy with someone else. Mm. Like I can't remember seeing a guy like me do a Nike advert anytime. Like, I don't know anyone like me. You look at me and probably think, oh, okay, he's ripped up, he's good looking, he's, you know, few tats, he's edgy. Nike, no.
But then it's horses for courses.
Yeah, you look at Nike, it's someone completely different.
Yeah, they normally Nike seem to want a real clean cut, athletic looking.
Yeah, or someone that just doesn't even train.
Yeah,
like the whole Gymshark thing. You know, it's gone now, where they used to have big lads that look like they did a bit of gear, to the average Joe, 18, 19-year-old. The t-shirt's falling off of him. It's not fitted. The girl doesn't really train too tough. She's not got muscular legs. Her bum is like the girl next door. You know, it's gone from very generic. And I think it's to do with body shaming. And
well, I think also it's like your current, you know, that's the market, I suppose, like Gymshark are selling to people who are, like, not everyone who goes to the gym are 3 years in and,
exactly.
And, you know, like 4% body fat. Like, there's a lot of people starting out. So I suppose it makes it more relatable.
Yeah, that makes sense business-wise. But how ironic is it that they started out?
Yeah. Well, that's not like naturally, that's the way you'd think. You know, like you kind of want to sell your product to the best. You want to show it at the best, not at the worst. Like, but obviously there's something they're trying out, and I'm guessing it's working for them because they're not doing too bad.
It must be working now,
like huge.
It must be working out. But again, you wouldn't want to, you know, when someone's part of something that's just too average. You know, I've got a mixtape. The mixtape isn't out. I've heard it from someone else, and you haven't got this song yet. Remember, it used to be like that. Yeah. So that was cool. So you don't want to get something that's too generic. I think that at a certain time, if everyone's taking something on, it's not really cool anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, I think when it comes to gym wear, I kind of want to see it modelled on someone who is the same way I want my PTs. If I went to a PT and he's 3 stone overweight, it's not the one for me.
Exactly. You want someone to motivate you,
Yes.
which is why I don't understand about these other models that have come into certain genres and of modelling. How
How do you mean?
Just like, if you're doing fitness and you don't look like you go to the gym, it's just, for me, it's a bit baffling. Maybe because I'm in fitness.
Is this the woke generation where, you've got to show it's got to be accessible for everyone? But
it's also, you've got to inspire.
I agree. See, I agree with you completely. I'm not for fat models advertising.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm overweight.
Yeah.
I'm 19 stone. I'm a big fella. I wouldn't, if someone said to me, do you want to come and model for Nike? I'd say no, because it's not right.
I mean, exactly. This is what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not against anybody who's bigger or smaller or white or black or anything like that. I just think if you're going to be modelling for something, and this might be just down to the brand's campaign and their ideas, you must have some sort of, there must be a push button, a hot spot.
Like Gucci loafers and someone's got hairy ankles. It's not for them. It's one of them. It's like, like you kind of, it needs to be, like you say, you want to aspire to look like that person.
That's it.
Wearing the gear. It's like that. Again, listen, that's my view.
I couldn't see a posh boy, blonde hair, blue eyes, from money, wearing a Nike hoodie, sitting on an estate.
No, it's just not right. Yeah.
I mean, there probably are boys like that, but he wouldn't be picked to model.
No.
For Nike. So, it's just, that's where I'm baffled. If Gymshark is so iconic, they'll probably hate me for this.
But they're so big also, they can try. They can experiment. Like if you're a up and coming brand, you could kill the brand overnight.
Yeah.
By sticking, Karen, 18 stone, dodgy teeth. That could kill the brand overnight, whereas Gymshark, they got bad publicity from it. It would turn into good publicity anyway, just purely the size of them.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's the same with that whole gym group. I used to run a gym group, and one of their layouts to rebrand and remodel was these leaflets we had to give out. And some of the people they'd put on the walls in the gym were the average Joe, which is quite cool because the average Joe can come to the gym for a certain price. It's quite cheap, it's accessible, it's 24 hours a day. But it's not real motivation, though, is it? Like, I'm looking around and I'm feeling like, well, I look better than him, so I'm all right. Really?
Yeah, you want to be looking up, not down. Yeah.
You go to these bodybuilding gyms, and the reason I train around bigger blokes is not for any other reason other than to remind myself I am not good enough today. And it's not about like some depressive state of mind. It's about pushing myself to be better. That's it. So, it's like washing your face every day. You don't wash it on a Monday, it's clean, I won't wash it for a week. You do it to prevent. You do it to be better.
It's that dedication again, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and consistency.
So, yeah, I guess for someone making money out of a multi-million pound company, put an average Joe in a T-shirt. Great. But for someone who's going to be there in 10 years and actually complete the gym contract and actually renew and actually going to go and get their results done, it's going to be done from someone who is muscular, someone who is fit, someone who is doing triathlons, someone who's taking care of their diet, not the bloke who signed up, paid the joining fee, is going to cancel next month. So maybe I'm wrong, but I think you should be looking up. And
all day long. Yeah. Interesting. What's the next few years for you like?
I'm gonna move more into not photography as such, but more creative directing and making more of the campaigns myself. So
is that what you really enjoy?
Yeah, I like creating stuff. I like getting the ideas. Like an idea for this brand I did last week in Madrid, where I shot for them. We're in a certain scene where I'm playing a bit of a James Bondy vibe. And I put some, makeup on my face to hide my tattoos because James Bond don't
really?
Yeah, he don't have tattoos, does he? So this might be a bit of like an Easter egg or whatever. And we're filming it all and stuff like that. And you can't see my tattoos. The first time I've seen my face with no tattoos in a while.
I bet that's weird. Yeah,
it is quite weird. Yeah. But I've started this whole reel off and this whole campaign like that. And while I'm being chased, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm, wiping off the makeup because I'm sort of like undercover here. And all of this is like, you're creating something, you're making a whole idea, you're casting for people, you're directing something, going to come up with a package and a product at the end of it. And I just think those sort of ideas are really cool and creative.
A lot of fun as well, I'm guessing.
It's fun to shoot as well. It's fun to be a part of it and not be told what to do. Whereas in the beginning of my career with modelling and stuff like that, I'll be told what to do, how to stand, what we're going to wear. Now I'm designing myself the way I like. I can say yes or no to certain brands. I've got a bit of clout behind me to say I can do it myself. I know a lot about the industry, so that would be more my direction, moving that way.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Nice. And you're going to stay in this country, or I know you spoke about potentially sort of moving abroad, or
moving abroad. Yeah, I can't state exactly where, but I will be going abroad soon, and that's where I want to reside, as it's like the sort of place for me with a lot of creatives and stuff like that. I like to be around people that obviously push you, just like the gym. So if I want to be better in the gym or better as a model, I'd be around people that were doing that, and it's quite competitive. Now I'm moving more of a creative directing and, content managing and stuff. I need to be around other people that are in the loop, that are quite skillful, and that would challenge me on that basis as well. And I'd only learn and grow. So it doesn't really matter where I sleep as such. It matters what I'm doing throughout the day. Because I don't remember what happens when I sleep. As long as I wake up and I'm learning stuff and I'm moving and I'm happy, then that's where I want to go.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Listen, it's like I say, I've enjoyed watching your life unfold on socials for the last sort of 2 or 3 years.
And you've seen it as well, because we've known each other a good few years. Yeah. So, you know about a whole fight situation I was going to do and reasons why I didn't do it. And it's probably a good thing.
Potentially, yeah.
Had me been smashed up, I couldn't really do what I'm doing now.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, it does. And we've met as well. We're cool. He's a good man. So, yeah. Happy days.
No, all good. Well,
stay tuned. I'm going to come back and do.
Yeah, look, I was going to say, I might even come on location. So I might even drop 4 stone and come and start modelling.
No, come. I'll have all the backdrops.
Is there, get some OAP stuff going.
No, I love you. It'll be sick. Sick.
Look, we'll catch up very, very soon, mate. I appreciate your time today.
Wicked. Thank you so much for having me. Cheers, man.